before the game started was, can Beast Coast fight their way into a third game of the series? And they worked real hard, like they tried real hard, but in the end, the answer is no. IG takes it with a 2-0. I'm here with Lizard, Synderen, and Grant. And gentlemen, that game, I must say, there were so many moments where I thought, oh, but Beast Coast, they can make a comeback. They were so close.
No, it felt like that. A lot of the high ground pushes, right? They had to commit a lot of buybacks, but they kept defending. I mean, you first 2'd your middle and your carry, and you still put up this great fight against the 10-pick Arc Ward. I don't know, Beast Coast, they might be some of the best like team fighters in the world, but they're out now, so.
The way they make comebacks in every single game that I have watched. Like, maybe they didn't do it successfully in this series, right? They were struggling, but they were making comebacks in the mid-game. And it's, I don't know, it's such a shame because this is a team that's innovating. They're picking heroes that aren't picked by others. They're picking heroes that don't usually get picked on the mid lane, Disruptor, Doom, Safe Lane. I'm really sad that they're out. I was fanboying them a little bit.
I think a lot of people here were, because regardless of how their draft goes, they always put up a fight. They are always fun to watch. Like, I can't remember the last time I watched a game of Beast Coast and, you know, was like, oh, get this over with, they lost. No, even when they are just super far down, they'll always make the other team work for it in a fun way.
I think it's pretty impressive for a team to this consistently fall a bit behind and being able to recover through good fighting. It does remind me a little bit of some of the games OG played at TI8, where there were many games where they were down like 5, 10K, and then they bring it back through one great mid-game team fight. Beast Coast did have plenty of those. We're going to be seeing one right here. This is one of the mid-game team fights going on the LC with the Doom first.
And yeah, Stinger had some great grips this game, by the way. Like, you can even see him on the map half the time. I mean, if you have that much cast range, it's pretty nice on there.
And he got the right PL quite a few times as well.
They got the only problem that I did really see in the Beast Coast way of team fighting is when they're behind, right? They win a couple of team fights, and then they're way too eager to continue pursuing, to get more. A couple of times they have that Doom off cooldown, and they're chasing. There's no way after that Doom that they catch PL, because coil is off, grip is off. They still Doom him, they still try to go on him, and he just escapes, and the Doom is wasted.
It does feel like that. In a way that makes it even more impressive what they're able to do, because it feels like the way they're playing off each other in team fights is tier 1 to me. Like their positioning, their spell casting, their movement, but the macro game, how you transition your lanes into a successful mid game or how you play off a victory correctly, it seems like some of that big experience is a little bit missing of always getting the good fight.
And it's weird, right? Because it feels like Hector actually has that. Like, he always knows where to be, but it's like where his team is taking these fights. And I don't know, it's definitely fixable. Like, that's one of those issues. You can definitely just look at these replays and be like, we got to do something different.
Yeah, they are a very promising team.
The way Schofield plays, the way Lelis plays around, Timur Schofield plays around Lelis. You have that Pit of Malice. You see this Tiny just running around, tossing people back into the Pit of Malice, tossing the right PL onto the Bane so that you have that grip. Some of these plays are really incredible.
I must also say, though, previous game, the first game of the series, we said IG got baited into a couple of fights that they shouldn't have taken and got, well, on the back foot a little bit because of that. I felt like there was a stern talking to by Super in the break, and it didn't happen as often where IG got baited. And I thought they also improved from game 1 to game 2.
They definitely did. I think they took that one bad fight at like the middle racks, but besides that, they played extremely clean. And when you have an Arc Warden, you kind of have to, right? Because you just lose him once and you lose the game.
And the thing that was, for me, was very similar between game 1 and 2 was that IG just had better Roshan control in both games. Did Beast Coast get an Aegis?
I don't believe
so.
In the series.
Yeah, in the series, no.
If you're playing 2 games and you don't get a single Aegis and there's like 5 or 6 claimed, the games generally end one way. Like, even if you fight amazingly, you're constantly playing at a deficit.
Now, who do you guys think was the MVP for that game number 2? That's the question. Could we get a drum roll, please? And we'll hear, and we'll see who the MVP was. Hector, Do you think that this is a little bit on the mean side?
It's on the mean side because of that last pickoff. He didn't have buyback, and they caught him farming that camp next to the river. It's like the game is over right there.
It is the game-ending play.
But
it was on him.
At the same time, that Doom had incredible impact throughout the game, had that super early Radiance, did quite well overall.
Yes.
Yeah, speaking of farmers, man, that Doom, and not only that, the Skywrath was the third highest net worth at, what, 12 minutes in?
That's one
like, when did that happen?
One of the best Kaka games that I have seen in a long time.
There was a lot of position 4 magic in this game. Like, Kaka just dominated the first 10 minutes, and then Schofield started making incredible plays in the mid-game. I think Schofield got 11% of the votes. I feel like most of those were genuine, and he deserves it. I think he played a very good game with how hard it was. And for me, Kaka kind of fell off a little bit. He didn't keep riding the wave. He was like 3rd net worth.
I was going to say, he had a
8th
great start.
or 7th. Yeah, his start was incredible. He was above his Arc Warden for a moment.
Yeah, but it's difficult with the Skywrath as well. It's easier to get those kills early on when there's no BKBs, no Mantas, nothing to really save people.
No one's running at you.
No one's jumping like Schofield was. So.
All right, guys.
Right.
I've enjoyed you guys' company. I'm going to keep Grant for a little bit longer.
See ya. Yeah, sorry. Bye.
But Thomas, could you and you guys please? That's your cue, Sin Lizard. Thank you. Make sure take the door. Take the door.
Take the door, Sin.
I need my phone.
Oh, okay, use the door.
I want my phone.
It's the only way out of this studio. It is the only way out. There are no other...
Slowly, don't fall.
What? You guys, you're not that old yet. What's wrong?
We're old.
I've sat on that couch. It's very comfortable, and I'm sure that there's 2 people that would love to sit a little bit on the couch. Well, one has to sit on the chair, actually.
Do they have to?
Good point. I don't know. They can sit on the couch if they want to. Let's find out what they want to do. Fogged and Capitalist, come join us here on the stage. Oh, that side. All right, yes.
This is where I was told to go.
That's fine.
I just listened to instruction.
I was just so confused every time. I'm like, why doesn't that door open?
We got to keep you guessing, Shiver, as much as possible. I thought we were just going to all crowd in on the couch. Yeah.
I'm missing Grant, though.
I'm not going to lie. That couch is super comfy.
We can all pillow up, too.
Oh, my God.
But
you know, there's a lot of space over here, but I'm going to get a little closer.
But can I use the chair?
That was so loud.
If you want to, yeah, sure. Switch it up.
Can I use the chair? Because well, then I actually, the camera over there will have a tough time getting in my shot. Hi. You'll miss me if I'm not here. I think so. I'll stay here, and it's a good place to be, too, because it is time to watch another awesome Dota 2 series.
Ooh.
Elimination. TNC and Liquid. And let me tell you something. These 2 teams, I don't know how, but both of these 2 teams have tried to play it in everything under the sun this entire season. But somehow, they only faced them once in Hamburg, and that was 2 teams that were very different. Sure, TNC won 2-0, and they won the whole tournament, but I feel like since then, both of these teams have grown tremendously.
I would agree, but TNC, oh man, they're just so good, right? They won the major. They're looking in the group stage. They kind of, are they just giving up already? And now they look as dominant as they did at the last major. And I'm pretty nervous for Liquid.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I watch TNC, I think every time we talk about them, I feel like when we're at like the group stages, when they're not on the stage, it's like TNC doesn't really care too much. They're just kind of playing Dota.
Yeah.
March
they get
yelling,
to the stage, they get hyped up, they just start playing at an infinitely better scale. So
when they're in form, this TNC squad looks incredible, right? Like I felt like going into the major, it was very obvious they were the best team there, just from the very get-go. It was that tournament they had before, right? ESL 1 Hamburg, I think, is where they really showed. They built up a lot of steam there, and once they got to the playoffs, they looked so good. It was so clear they were going to win that tournament, and then the major, a tougher crowd, sure, but TNC still looked like the best team there.
Yeah, and they were. I mean, they took the title home. Then the new patch came around, and the qualifiers obviously didn't look too great for TNC. And everybody's like, yeah, they don't need to try again. They got their
TI.
But at the same time, I remember us talking during that major. They have this squad under leadership of March, and they just they take a little bit longer to get used to a patch, but then they perfect the things they do. Is that fair to say for this time around too?
I agree, and I think that goes back to March, because if you think of the people March played with at the end of his Dota 1 days, it was Demon and Fear, and I think those two are extremely similar. So I think they all have the same thing where they will eventually learn it, but it takes them a little bit, those growing pains.
Yeah, I love when you hear like, the Demon, Fear, Febby, March, the old school. We got the old school NA boys. And actually we do also have Febby, right? I don't know, when was he actually added back
like
into
right
it?
before.
It was right before, right? So that can also be, maybe March was feeling a little bit down after their last few and he needed a little bit of help from his boys.
Just get Pep, honestly. Like sometimes, I mean, even Blitz talks about it, like it's not all about his like knowledge of the game and drafting. It's he's there because he's like one of them and they trust him.
Yeah, they trust him and brings the energy, we talked in the previous series a little bit how important mental state is for these teams, and coach can definitely play a big part in that as well.
Yeah, we all like to talk about like, Dota players and Dota strategy, big galaxy brain stuff. Yeah. But, I think we sometimes ignore just sometimes a player is feeling hot, he's feeling good, he goes into the game, it shows his confidence, he outplays people. That sort of thing does matter, and that's, coaches can help you achieve that.
Yeah, they definitely can. I'm, of course, curious to hear you guys' thoughts about what you think about this matchup upcoming, but I am also very curious to hear what the players had to say, and in this case, TNC's Gabby.
Today, we're really confident as a team because we know we can do our best and we can try to win this series. Yeah, we hope so. We cannot say our strat against Liquid. Let's see the game, how it goes.
I think that's a very deceiving portrait of Gabi. Because when we saw them play in the studio against against Fnatic, it was loud from all the sides. And you see, a quiet boy just talking to the camera. No, that's not how this goes. This will be loud. I know that there's, there's glass in between, but I'm sure you guys will still be able to understand and hear.
There's gonna be some yelling.
There's definitely gonna be yelling.
One-on-ones make, they get a little shyer. But when they have their whole team rallying around them, that's when they start screaming. They don't care what anybody hears.
When they're
like, wait,
they're
like, wait, nobody hears my voice. They just think it's one of us or whatever. Do whatever we want.
Exactly.
And I think it's great that March, you talked about a little bit of his history playing with a few goons like Demon. I think that this is a squad full of goons. They get so excited. You need somebody to be able to have a little bit of discipline, have some calm in there, and that's where March really shines. I think he's, obviously there is that TI moment of him getting hyped up, but when it comes to some of the in-game calls, you hear him. He's the steady voice that makes sure they don't go too overboard.
Yes, and I think actually that the person that we hear from Liquid is the same type of voice we're going to hear from Quakefa.
So our match against TNC I think it's going to be pretty hype actually. Both teams coming from the lower bracket, so we kind of both have like a bit of momentum going on. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good series. Coming from the lower bracket, obviously, it's always a tough road, but we managed to do it twice now. And we just hope to keep the momentum going at this point and win. Yeah, I mean, Taiga has been owning this event, to say the least. Yeah, I mean, maybe we play some Dark Willow again and clutch it out, who knows?
I hope for every Liquid fan out there that it's not going to be the same type of clutch, because I'm sure that some people lost a couple of years of their lives there, a couple of extra gray hairs in there as well. But I think that Quakefa, he speaks about something very important. We've talked about teams coming through the lower bracket all the time. Momentum is big. This is the first time where both teams come from the lower bracket. Nobody is dropped down instantly from a loss. So they both come off the back of a win. And I'm curious how that will impact the teams. What do you think, Grant?
I think I'm trying to think through both teams. Like on TNC, I look at someone like Armel, who I think by far out of these 10 players is probably the best player in this. And the confidence he has coming off wins, especially he has these heroes like Doom and stuff he can bring around. I think TNC is going to come in super confident. Meanwhile, Liquid, they're going to do the same. They're going to joke around. I think that first draft, they've already got it planned out. I think they've got it literally planned out. And if it goes well for them, that confidence in the game 2 is going to be great. But I think if Liquid loses game 1, that's when they have to be really careful.
All right.
I do think both teams do ride up momentum. That is for sure. I think we heard it as well in the studio, right? Liquid, when they were playing versus like Navi, Aiden is literally just screaming back and forth to each other. Same thing for TNC versus Fnatic. So,
well, we're going to have to wait a little bit before we can hear these teams ride the momentum and see which teams gets ahead. But we are very close to getting our second series started. We'll be right back.
Great Gaming Esports, professional esports housemaker.
And the way is too faint to be seen. And the dark is calling with bloody feet, too numb to proceed. Try to be calm, and I will try to carry on when I'm lost and alone in the storm. And we will march ever on, and we will march ever on through our fear and the pain with our song. Try to be calm, and I will try to carry on when I'm lost and alone in the storm. And we will march ever on, and we will march ever on through our fear and the pain without song.
Ladies and gentlemen, being top 8 at a major is nice and all that, but these teams that want to be number 1, could you please make some noise for TNC and Team Liquid? Woo! They're ready to take the stage for the DreamLeague Major Season 13, live in Leipzig. Woo! No handshakes this time round, straight to the booth. Game face is on. Oh, never mind. Nice. Still had a handshake. You know, we still got that going. I am super pumped for this game because both of these teams have played such interesting Dota. I'm going to call it that because it's good Dota, but then with a touch of weird. Let's focus on Liquid with that regard first, because I'm sure that everybody knows that some of the games they've played, mostly 2 of the games they've played, have gone 70 minutes plus, where they had a tremendous lead and they just have trouble closing. How do you fix that?
Great question.
I think it's just the experience, honestly. I think that's one of the biggest things is that when you play your pubs and then you play like scrims and competitive games, not a whole lot of them go into that late game. You can be super experienced with the laning phase, with the early game, how to execute your mid game. But it comes to the late game, you're only going to get that in like, especially the super late game, like 1 in every, 20 games or something like that? And as a team, you just need more experience. Well, Liquid, they're a rather inexperienced squad, right? All these guys are coming from Heroes of New Earth. All these guys, compared to the pool, don't have, we have nobody who's like, this is my first year of Dota, guys. But compared to the pool, Liquid is easily one of the most inexperienced teams here.
That's fair to say. I must say that they have been together. They've been a squad together for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right, they are playing a lot of 60-minute games, so they do have more price than other teams, right? Like, in a way. Like,
in a way,
they do play a lot
maybe in their
more now.
short amount of time, they've grinded up a decent amount. But
I know what you're saying. I agree.
All
you
right,
really
guys.
don't have 70 minutes in. Good luck. Who the hell knows what's going to drop?
That
what's
is
gonna
true.
happen.
Who knows the neutral drops, right?
They're just trying to make it fun for all the tournaments, right?
Yeah.
You know, they're like, average game length 30. Liquid's like, nah, let's bump that up for the viewers.
hey,
Hold on
just to
here.
give you an idea, I have like twice the amount of time in Dota than Mickey does.
Then why
Right?
are you not up there?
Because I'm garbage. That's why. Because I'm a terrible player.
Thanks,
but
Shaver,
I
for
played
setting
a
him
lot. But Mickey, meanwhile, his time in Dota, obviously he has a history playing in Han, but his Dota 2 history is actually like very very short.
Fair enough, yeah.
So we got TNC on the Radiant side, Liquid on the Dire side. We have a couple of different bans coming out from Liquid compared to what they banned out yesterday. They banned out Puck and Tiny every single game that we saw.
I know.
I have a sign. I think Loda's quite happy with the squad.
Yeah,
I mean,
think so.
Team Liquid, they managed to bop Na'Vi one really hard. They easily 2-0'd that. And I think a large part of it was the Treant Protector. They got both games.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, TNC, I think they won both Enchantress games they drafted against Fnatic. So Liquid, obviously, they see a strong point. They're going to ban it away. I wonder if TNC are going to let them have the Treant Protector because they have a plan against it. I personally think that hero's too broke conceptually, but
You think?
I still do too. I still think that hero just does way too much because he's amazing early game, and then he is literally one of the best BKB counters in the game, and he also just makes your carries so much better because living armor, if you don't have a way to dispel that off, and also most carries are going to be like BKB later, so you can't dispel it off of them half the time, they just get that much stronger.
He's the best tower defender. He's one of the
so
best
good.
split pushers as well, playing in the trees with the Meteor Hammer.
Yep.
And they're more afraid of the Naga Siren Disruptor combo, which may be what Liquid still opens with. The Disruptor has been in high value. Doom is also still out there, a hero that has been picked and banned in every single draft at this tournament.
And Taiga has really been liking Treant Protector as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know how early you want to prioritize that one, or you want to keep it open for a potential Willow.
I wouldn't doubt if we just saw a tree into like a Lich Slark.
Yeah,
Seems
I think
pretty
something.
common.
I think the thing about the tree is, though, it's flexible. They played on, they can both play it. It's not just Taiga, but for the most part, it would be him.
They're using some time. They
There he
use a
is.
tree. All right, let's see. I think you're either Slark, Lich, or Disruptor plus something.
It's funny, it's like TNC left so many like OP heroes, quote unquote, and the Treant Protector and said, if you want your tree, we're gonna get something really good. I think Doom Disruptor is the best combo for me because it's the combination of Doom is a guaranteed kill as long as you have the catch for it. Disruptor's the ultimate catch.
Yep, definitely agree. I also just love these two heroes because you get to a point, if you get to the later stages of the game, you have Doom, and then you have AoE Doom.
Yep.
What's better than that?
That's
That's
true.
what we've seen a majority of these teams is the reason you pick the Disruptor is because he's gotten buffed so much in the early game, and then he gets to that later stage, of course, with the Philosopher's Stone probably or something along those lines, and then he gets that.
We know Liquid likes to play games and they go pretty long. So how do you prepare for that? Like, do you just get a lot of heroes that are good Doom targets, or do you get heroes that can survive through all the Dooms?
They've been doing Oracle, which is
save.
good against Disruptor in the lane as
there you
well,
go.
and I take it right there. Yeah.
Nice call, Grant.
I was going to
Very
say their
nice.
bench or Oracle. I think a save is just probably the best thing that we've seen.
And the Oracle is good, right? Because he Thunder Strikes you and you just take it off. And it's the highest damage nuke in the game, but only if it goes off and you can dispel it, which is nice.
Yeah, it's really cool too because it's a save, but it's not like you're just saving them because you're popping your ult on them, but you're also your fate's edicting them inside of that Disruptor ult. So Disruptor ult, like a lot of people are just like it's an AoE Doom, but it does like 2,000 damage if you get caught inside of all of it, and that fate's edict counteracts like about half or so if you do put it at the right time.
And the AoE is gigantic too, ever since they gave it an extra 100 like 2 or 3 patches ago.
They banned the OD. I believe TNC was one of the 2 teams who played it in the safe lane, actually, so a little versatility from them. And also, OD is just one of like the few int heroes you're like, man, that's a real good late game hero. And just counters a bunch of the agility carries, obviously.
He's annoying as an Oracle to deal with too, because you can just put the target under, like while they're getting gone on, and then you can't save them, right? Like if he does just pop out, like they pop out really low, and then your Oracle has to get there in time to actually cast the spell. There's a lot of other reasons, sure, but
yeah, if there's an Oracle on your team and you have Quoikba on your team as well, you're probably banning out that Huskar.
Yeah, Huskar Oracle is really dangerous. I think Slark Oracle is very dangerous as well.
Yep.
Just the hard save to be able to bail a Slark out and give him a chance. Obviously, his regen kicks in double time once he gets out of vision as well. So
we expected some, cheese type of things coming out from both teams. Well, not expected, but it's likely that
more
it'll
than
come
likely.
out. Yeah,
I would
they both
expect
play.
it. You're right.
Both teams, we're not going to call them disgusting, but they're dishonorable, as they were saying. Like Ansenio was literally saying, we're dishonorable. Navi's are respectable.
Magical here's like, let's do some Puck versus Club. He's like, nah, Huskar, Meepo, Brood, whatever.
Brood.
All right, we got the Shaker removed from the pool, and the Bloodseeker banned Slark pickup.
I love Slark with Disruptor. Give that vision for the glimpses all those times, and you give that increased night vision, and they ban out the heroes that are good versus it. They ban out that Bloodseeker, and it's still one of the most popular carries.
They've been drafting Slardar a couple times, and it is one of the more proficient laners against Slark. It's a matchup you can't actually win.
Yeah, I know. BSJ recommended that a lot when we were in Singapore, especially.
Well, they better pick it then if BSJ recommended it. Damn.
I have a Doom question. We have seen Armel play Doom for TNC. Are we expecting that again, or what kind of position? Especially, we have a disruptor, and I thought, okay, it's going to be a Tim's disruptor, but then we see the Shaker ban, and normally it's the Shaker for Tim's. So I'm like, who's going to go where? What should we expect?
I still think it's on KP until I see something differently. I just usually think Doom's in the off lane, but the thing is, March likes to last. He's last picked his hero a few times, actually. That Enchantress, which can go to different lanes, but I usually just assume Doom's in the 3 unless you see something like obvious.
We have seen it also ran in the 4 though, right? Tim's has played it a lot in the 4, even at last tournament. He was playing it a bunch, and we've seen Zayat's run it a lot in 4. A lot of different teams are, so it is very flexible. I do think that is a very good point.
We've actually seen it in every single role because there was a 5 Doom as well. We've seen it in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's nuts.
Yeah,
maybe the only hero.
Yeah,
I think
that's a good point.
Madness. Well, leaving it open, that's always been one of the nice things to do, right? In your draft. Ooh, nice. The Boxy special. I don't think there's any question about who's playing what on the side of Liquid. They're going
panel's on fire, baby.
I mean, BSJ, thank you.
Shout out to the man. The promo code himself.
But okay, so in lane, you just, how do you win it, Cab? You were kind of saying, like,
you hit the crates 3 times, and then you bop the Slark.
Yeah,
you just keep doing that over and over.
Or do you just, so you never want to, like, trade hits? You only
you don't trade hits because Slark will still beat you on the Essence shift stealing, but you just keep on harassing him to a point. Eventually, you'll get an advantage, right?
Yeah. No, I really like this Slardar versus this. It also is a hero that can play super aggressive, so if they do start getting their lead forward versus a Disruptor, you're running at a Disruptor. Disruptor doesn't like getting ran at, and Slardar is a hero that always is just going to open up Roche. Immediately that hero, even if you don't have a Roshing lineup, Corrosive Haze just gives you that potential.
And the Lich made it all the way through to 4th pick.
That's pretty dirty. The Lich Slark, you get Lich Slark in your 3 and 4 pick. It's like Vici and EG are first picking these, and you're getting it here. That's pretty crazy.
And most of the damage coming from Slardar and Train Protector in lane are physical damage. So that makes if you do get the Frost Armor, it makes it even stronger in that regard.
There is an Oracle.
Yeah.
So there's a Dispel. That's one of the big things too, is like Lich is going to be annoying. It depends on, in what instances if he's ever in the lane. But it's going to be a lot of times where you just see that Oracle, Fortune's End, just being able to purge off that Frost Shield.
I wonder, it's like he wants to be in both lanes, right? The Disruptor, Thunderstrike, and the Lich. So it'll be interesting to see how Liquid solves this.
Ooh.
Okay.
A hero we saw a ton during the group stages, and then it's kind of fallen off. We've seen it a little bit here and there, but it's really fallen off, and I think most of us are like, I wonder why. It is still very, very good.
Yeah, especially like if it's against like a Doom. Doom can suffer a little bit sometimes because you have like this very low armor, but also Doom can run at you pretty hard, so it's a little bit of it goes both ways just because of that. But also, like, Slark is also a weird matchup too, because versus Drow, you can be excellent if you're ahead, because you can just, you're always far away from the Slark. But once Slark gets ahead and you get an Aghanim Scepter, then you're never going to be able to keep the distance away from Slark.
So if you want to talk about like combo heroes with Drow Ranger, the OD's already banned out. Same goes with the Huskar, but there's still Viper, Storm. Is there any other that you guys can think of?
Storm is the biggest one, at least for me, for Liquid right now. I mean, there's Pounce and there's some like little small disables that are a bit annoying for him, but could be a possibility.
It's always just scary, right? Because now some disruptors were going straight up Ags. Now they're going Ewell's Ags. So no matter what, if Storm gets caught by that Ewell's, you're going to die.
Yep.
Well, you have an Oracle, but more than likely you're going to die.
There's Puck, but I feel like Puck has fallen off as a core a bit more and really stuck in that 4 position. We saw Chris Luck, not really have the greatest game in that last series.
Yeah, what did that Puck do that a 4 Puck couldn't have done kind of thing? And
exactly.
It feels like that's what a lot of heroes do, right? They just slowly go down the list as their farm priority.
Oh, there's TA.
There is TA.
It's a lot of little damage over time, though, for a TA.
I don't like TA versus Slark is always a bit of a...
Should we be worried about Broodmother still, or no?
I was looking at that. Broodmother for Liquid is...
Oh.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's pretty good.
They don't
They'll be last pick
They're
for
not
TNC.
the overall, though. Yeah, that's the problem. And I think there's actually some pretty good...
In some of those matchups, you can shift Doom into the mid lane against. I don't know how the
Slark
Broodmother works, but...
I've seen Slark, and it was actually China pubs were running Slark against the Brood middle.
Oh, yeah, you just run at him right away with, like, Orb?
Right-click him with Orb, and he gets out of lane because he doesn't get that many Spiderlings early. I've only seen that in China pubs, though. They do ban the Puck.
Okay.
Just like...
That's all you needed was control, right? You had a Doom Disruptor Slark. If you just control some people with that hero, they're going to die.
It's like Gyro mid, Morph mid. There's some interesting options you could change up.
I must say, if you take away the bans, you don't see that, and you just see what TNC is drafted. It's like, how did they get Doom and Disruptor and Lich and Slark? I feel like that's looking super strong to me.
And I think that's what we talked about, right? Like, I think Liquid came in with their own draft that they're going to go for, and they're like, we're going to give TNC what they want as long as we get what we want.
What I see right now is Liquid has some super strong lanes, and TNCs are just... They're kind of weak. I mean, Lich and Disruptor do kind of turn that one, but in comparison, I think Liquid's lanes just look really scary, just because of the picks that they have, like the counter picks, like the Slardar versus the Slark. So we're probably going to see some like lane dodging coming out from TNC to try to get the better situation out of that one.
Well, the nice part is Slardar beats Doom as well as a core, right? So
good call on the Viper. I think it was one of those.
Yeah, it's just natural pickup.
And this hero doesn't feel bad late game. Remember a while ago, it's like, oh, you just fall off at a certain point. No, those wings flap way quicker, and you do a lot of damage. And as Kyle say, that Drow aura, no, I'm just kidding. There's no aura on Drow, Kyle.
Well, the ult ties an aura, but it's different. Yeah, it's like 1,200 radius. It's not global or
You got
Kyle.
the nether toxin that you could drop on the ground against the Slark. So when he shadow dances and he tries to just stay on top of somebody, he doesn't actually get those stats stealing away.
What do we like it for last pick for TNC? Most likely for Armel.
What if they brood?
Nah. Would they? Nah.
But there's a Viper.
I just don't.
You'd have to Slardar mid.
That'd be weird. I don't know. I don't think the TNC would do it, but
it's Alina.
It's Alina. That's more comfortable, and it's
the range.
It's just it's their comfort style for sure.
All right, guys. Do we like it, and who do we like more?
I'm actually not sure if I like the Alina last pick. It just feels kind of standard. I just look at the 4 other heroes from TNC. I feel like all those heroes, like so many of them are in the top 10.
All right, guys. We're going to find out what's going to happen. We're going to send you to a musical intermezzo, and after that, straight to the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got TNC versus Liquid ready to go here from Leipzig. I'm ODPixel, joined by Lizard for this one. Lizard, what are you looking forward to here? We've got Liquid trying out the old Drow Viper strat. TNC, though, they've got a lot of ways to close the gap, and a lot of ways I feel that's going to make it very hard for Mickey to play his game as the Drow.
They have so many gap closing abilities. You have Pounce on the Slark once that he gets that tag, and at the same time you have Disruptor, one of the strongest supports at the moment. I can't believe that this hero just got through so easily in the first drafting stage. I don't know, Liquid, they believe in their draw strategy. It's definitely strong. You have Corrosive Haze, you have Viper, like the panel mentioned before, but this looks like such a great Slark game too.
It really does. I mean, as you say, you know, when he has the Ags, the BKB, it's going to be very hard for Liquid to just stop him from getting on top of the Drow and causing so many issues for Mickey in those mid-game fights. We'll see if Liquid's able to get the good edge in the lanes. They, you know, obviously picking like this Drow, the Viper, I mean, the mid lane in particular. We'll see how that matchup does go down. Armel, as a leaner, you got the ways to like nuke the wave out, you know, to sort of spam back and push back against the Viper. But if you sort of fail on that first wave and the Viper's able to position himself on the high ground, it can be very annoying and very hard to get close to the creeps.
Whenever I see the Lina, I look at the enemy team and it's the same with Drow. Do they have the catch? Do they have the gap closing abilities? And when you look at Liquid, initially they don't, but later on, Tree is going to be invis all the time. In the trees, you're going to have most likely a blink on Boxy. Usually he goes for that Axe build, but eventually he will have that blink. And when that does happen, Lina might be in a lot of problems.
Oh, we see the lane setups here for Liquid. They are going to run the aggressive. At the moment, they have Slardar up top, which is in that matchup where the Slardar is going to be against the Slark and can really sort of punish the Slark early on. We'll see how much March can do to keep this area safe for Gabby, but as a whole, you definitely have a strength as the Slardar against this melee hero like a Slark on the early levels, because you're just going to punch it.
From level 2, you're much stronger, but they rotated Disruptor as well, and Boxy might be in problems.
They're trying to get aggressive onto March, and he'll be able to get the kill for it. He may lose his life, though, as the Thunderstrike and the right clicks do mean the trade does occur. Gabby gets the permanent Agi-Essence shift stack. So Liquid, they get first blood, but they also give a kill away to the Slark very early on.
Yeah, I think if you're Boxy, you're kind of alright with that. Giving that kill away to Gabi is definitely problematic, and now we will have a 3-on-2 action here, at least for the time being. I'm wondering if they will bring the 3-N towards the top lane as well.
Oh,
the kill off the Doom.
There, Tiger and Mickey, Tiger's able to lead him right into the tower. He gets low, does not fall. Some aggression whilst they realize that TNC's attention has been drawn towards the top lane and KP is alone.
It's all about these starting items. If you look at the Taiga, he has Fairy Fire and most importantly Orb of Venom, and because of that he can go on KP again.
We have the Nature's Grasp sort of just blocking off any sort of escape for KP, and it's going to be a second kill just as quickly as KP comes back to the lane. Tiger will happily reset and get himself a free trip back to base, but this lane for Mickey, it's being set up perfectly because of Tiger's aggression.
Yeah, he's having a blast. At the same time, I don't think... Let's see where 3-N will go again. If he goes top, which he is, Drow Ranger is left alone, lonesome on that bottom lane, and there might be some switches happening from TNC as well. You don't leave that Drow alone. You have to react to that.
I mean, so obviously KP's got to take the slow walk back to the lane, so there will be a lot of time for Mickey to get a few waves in. He's smoking, yeah, to get over there that little bit quicker. And Mickey's going to have a lot of space because of that time. It just takes KP to return to bottom.
On the panel of the last game, we also talked about the creeps that he can get as Doom early on, and it's very difficult for a Doom to find the useless creep, but these little mud golem farts, they're probably one of the worst ones to get. You get that stun and that's it. A Frost Armor would be much better for him down bottom.
Now, looking at the mid lane so far, Armel on these early few levels, he is doing a fantastic job against the Viper. 13-4 against the 8-for-2. He's got that edge.
I think this is to be expected if the lane block wasn't perfect from the Viper, because Lina outranges him, and then when the stacks starts happening, you just LSA and move back.
Well, Armel certainly proving to have mastered that matchup, as it were, so far. And a lane that, we'll see if there's going to be any sort of rotations.
You can see it already. There's a Disruptor rotating bottom lane. Drow might be in problems. She has to be very careful about the way she lanes here. He's invis as well.
Let's see if Tims can get the catch. It's just level one, so will just be a Thunderstrike offering up that bit of damage, a little bit of a slow of each tick, and Mickey is rather close to the tower. The wave is going to push out. We'll see how far forward he steps.
If they only had the glimpse here, now they do, level 2, maybe even kinetic field. Okay, it's the glimpse.
Now they can have a good shot at this. Mickey, he has got Tiger by his side. And that'll be enough to push KP back, so the damage won't be there to bring Mickey down. And now Mickey can turn, gets the slow and the multi-shot onto KP. KP dies a third time on this bottom half of the map as Tiger and Mickey, they are working this bottom lane perfectly.
Yeah, KP is just having a terrible time so far with that bottom lane. Here on top, we have Insania. He's trying to... he actually snatches that creep away, but because of that, he is bounced on.
I mean, Gabby's got to be a little careful because Boxy's going to start going for his support, pushing March away from him. Gabby does commit, get the kill. See if Boxy can punish this. Mickey's coming with the TP to offer that extra bit of damage, but Gabby, he's just turning, and he actually kills off Boxy as well. Gabby gets the double kill, and Mickey just does not have the damage at the moment to shoot down the Slark. Gabby's going to get away with it.
He had sticks, and he obviously has essence shift. You have to be super careful when you're fighting Slark in these melee engagements. Even if you're a Slardar, it doesn't matter. You think, all right, I'm going to get my 3 charges, then I'm going to stun you. But by the time you get those charges, you don't even hit him that hard because he stole all of your attributes.
I mean, Gabby, you know, sure, we've been talking about Mickey having a good time down bottom because of the way that Tiger's helped out his lane. But this top lane, Gabby getting 3 kills, all of them granting him that extra buff to the essence shift permanently. He's having a great start on that top half of the map.
I think it's super important for them to have a very tanky, very fat Slark early on because he can create a lot of space. He can be very, very active in this game. He doesn't have to be that Slark that just disappears for until 15-minute mark. He can be active across the map and rotate.
I mean, and this mid lane, Armel, he's just continuing to crush Quakefa. 27-11 against the 18 for 6. Quakefa very much struggling. Now, Armel, he's hit the 6. He's got that kill potential. And TNC, they're going to look to abuse it just as he hits that 6. Perfectly timed. The glimpse back into the stun. There's the nuke from the Laguna Blade. TNC, very hot with the moves.
He's 10 CS behind, and now he fell as well. They kill him in the perfect timing. Like you noticed, Lina hits that 6 because of the advantage with the denies. Instant rotation by Tims. Tims has done this really well so far in the game. He rotated bottom. It didn't really lead to anything. It only led to his Doom's demise, but at the same time, he recovered super well by rotating mid.
Quakefa returns to the lane, but does certainly have to remain cautious with Tims in their neighborhood, and especially with Armel bottling up a double damage rune. When the glimpse is back up, they may well just look to make another move onto the Viper to try and push Quakefa out of that area once again.
I love what Tims is doing overall on that side of the map because he has just warded that cliff next to the medium camp and he's just waiting for the courier, perhaps waiting for another opportunity to strike. You can see these wards. They will prevent Viper from going back into the woods. You can see him.
And here we go, the glimpse into the stun. Armel steps in. He hasn't got Laguna Blade back up quite yet. Still 5-second cooldown, and Insania's in with the safety to keep Quakefa fine. Now Quakefa's going to turn, just see if he can get a touch onto Tims, but Tims, he's already backed off.
Quakefa is suffering, and their literal game plan is to continue doing that, to continue pressuring him as much as possible, because you want to make Viper weak in that mid game. He would be the one that stands up front and just creates a lot of mess. He would be the tank. And if you weaken him in the early stages of the game, he won't have the opportunity to do so comes 15-minute mark.
Oh. A little bit of an aggressive pounce there from Gabby. Doesn't quite get the latch. Bottom lane, KP's dropped down the Doom onto Boxy. Tims with the Thunder Strike, trying to do the damage to bring him down low, but there's living armor healing him up. So the Doom alone will not kill Boxy off. He's able to back away. Very
interesting from KP, the skill build that he's going for. If you notice mind control and how he's playing, he goes for no devour.
They're getting in on top of Armel with the help of Insania. There's the backup. March comes in with the TP Frost Shield. Armel's gonna be, is the poison enough? It is. The poison will kill him. Liquid finally able to push Armel out of that lane that he's been dominating in for the most part.
Quakefa needed that kill. He needed that kill so much because he was 1,000 gold behind at 8-minute mark. That shouldn't be happening as a Viper. You always pick the 0 to lane dominate, and he has been just suffering there.
Yeah, very nice moves from Insania, coming in and giving that extra bit of hold and control to allow Quakefa to get on top of Armel. Bit of a courier snipe here, but overall, Liquid, they do have the 1k lead. Mickey's game still continues to be the strongest after that entire free farm he had down bottom, and now moving up to top. He's continuing to get away with all the farm, and not really too much that Gabby can do alone to contest the CS. Maybe with a +1, he can try and get aggressive onto Mickey, but Gabby, well, Gabby now with the 6-2, so he does have that Shadow Dance, so can afford to be a little more aggressive without the worry of Liquid turning on him.
I think they will try to go on top lane very soon. They should at least. The Drow Ranger is probably the most susceptible one to dying this early on in the game. And with a couple of levels on Lich and on that Slark, if he's out of position just a little bit, he can fall. Same goes for KP. Even though he's a Doom, we saw how Doom can be super tanky in that last game. This is a completely different match. He doesn't have Frost Armor, and he's also playing versus a Slardar. That Corrosive Haze is going to make him melt.
Yeah, Boxy with a nice little neutral line pickup as well. Finds the Faded Brooch. That extra bit of movement speed will help him close the gap and stay on top of the enemies when he starts to see opportunities to run them down.
I love Taiga's positioning. He's securing Koi Quack here. If Lina approaches from behind the tower, they can make an aggressive move as well, but most importantly, he's just scouting so that no one else can go on the Viper. Armel with a little bit of an out-push play. Stops Viper from that tier 1 attempt.
See coming up to the 10-minute outpost if either team wants to try and look for a fight. Liquid bringing 3 of them down bottom as Quake first starts to leave that mid lane for the first time this game, ready to use his power as the Viper to secure this area of the map for Liquid.
It's your 10-minute mark. You're thinking about outposts and you're thinking about this tier 1. Tier 1's on the safe lanes. That's basically your objective. And if you can get the outpost and the bounty rune, it's super easy to get backup, right? Once you go on that tier 1.
On the river, Armel. It's chasing Insania a little bit, doesn't quite have the mana to play the full combo on him, so Insania will live. Just a 1-for-1 on the outpost, as expected. No sort of full-on fight being looked for by either side with the full 5. Mickey remains on his half of the map in the jungle, continuing to farm up safely. Going for the standard build as the Drow, the Dragon Lance, Hurricane Pike, that ability to have that extra mobility to ensure that it's a little bit harder for Gabby to land the pounces on him.
I love what Slark attempted to do here. He attempted to pull the wave so that he can push with his catapult wave, right? But it didn't work because Mickey came back and he defended. Nice attempt by Gabby, nonetheless.
Yeah, all about just getting these early items before the players really start to come out from the cores. Gabby trying for that diffusal blade, and he's still going to hit good timing on it.
I think if you're Doom right now, you need to find the Ogre Frost Mage or the Purge Creep. The Purge Satire would be so good versus the enemy team, versus Liquid's lineup. So far, he is just farming away in the back. He's leaving Boxy completely to free farm on the lane. He can't really approach the lane creeps.
Still, you know, with the game at this passive pace, Mickey is going to continue to out-farm the cores of TNC. The TNC, the pressure is going to be on them to make plays, especially with Armel as this Lina. He's going to want to start moving around the map, looking for opportunities to burst down the cores of Liquid, which is only going to get harder as the game goes on, especially heroes like Boxy that will become increasingly tanky as the Slardar.
Exactly, I'm surprised he hasn't already attempted that, but look at his first item. You don't see it super often, but he went for the travels, and they will allow him to be aggressive even after just defending, pushing mid lane. I like that item build a lot.
Well, they've got to make moves, and it looks like they will now. Now starting to stray away from the mid lane. Armel ready to team up with March, and they're going to make the move towards the bottom, try and go for the hero that they feel is most likely to be left alone, as Boxy is down here, continuing to farm. See if Boxy reads this.
So tanky though, 20 stick charges as well. They need to kill him off fast.
The 4 of them, they should have a pretty solid chance of doing it. The Sinister Gaze into the Light Strike Array. Living Armor will not protect Boxy as TNC get the pick off, and they'll now try and push for more. They'll want more out of this, as they did bring the 4 heroes down here. Of course, whilst this goes down, Liquid being very efficient. Mickey continues to take over the jungle. Tiger's getting a bit of a look in on that top lane, and they're also pressuring in mid-Liquid. So TNC, they'll need to get this tower as well to make that move worth it.
The thing is, in this sort of a situation, you need to bring 4. If you look at the network charts, he was almost on top, and Slardar with free farm is going to crush you in the mid game. You needed to delay his item progression at least a little bit.
The tower is taken by TNC. They get that objective.
Look at Boxy. If you just understand what his item build is all about, he wants to be the front line. He wants to get that pipe for all the magic damage, obviously, from TNC. And with that hood, he will be able to do that. that.
See top arm out. He's going to look for the solo kill onto Tiger. Has he got the burst to do so? Tiger's going to use the overgrowth with Laguna Blade still unavailable for 10 seconds. Armel did not have the ult ready to go. And now they're going to try and turn both the Gust and the Nature's Grasp off the mark. Tims steps in. They turn with the Molly shot. Tims will be able to trap him in the Static Storm, but Tims loses his life for it. And Tiger's trying to press on onto Armel. Armel does now have Laguna Blade back and available. He's not even going to need it for Tiger as KP comes in with the Monk Golem Rocks, stuns up the tree, takes him out, and the rest of Liquid are forced back behind the tower.
They're still cleaning around. There's Doom.
They're bringing TPs in. Quaifa's going to come across to try and help out, but Insania goes down. Armel picks up the double. TNC, they're still trying to get in under the tower. They know they've got the number advantage. There'll be a buyback from Tiger to make sure that TNC cannot look to dive. A very necessary buyback, as you could tell that TNC, they were hungry. They knew there was only 2 heroes behind there, and they were ready to go even deeper.
At the same time, they literally brought everyone to that top lane. Meanwhile, Boxy just chilling on the bottom lane farming. He might even go on this Disruptor. He might get him.
He just turns, man's up onto Tims. One more touch would do it, but he can't quite get in range. Maybe that. Ooh, they kill him just in time. They're able to protect Tims. He nearly goes down as Boxy nearly jukes all 3 of them out. Won't be the case though. TNC get the kill.
That's Boxy right there. You can never count him out. He looks like he's about to die. He pops those stick charges, the sprint, and he almost takes down Disruptor with him.
Still, this game kept very even at the moment, 9-6, less than 1K in it. Sort of the biggest difference being the difference between the mids here. Obviously, Quaifa still playing a bit of a catch-up game after the struggles that he had in that matchup against Armel. But if they can continue to respond to these plays from TNC, every time TNC starts to get aggressive close to a tower, Quaifa's going to be ready to TP over and offer that extra bit of damage from range.
It has been a very slow-paced game so far. Only one tier 1 is down, 15 minutes in, but I expect that to change very soon. On the side of TNC, you're getting these big items. You have Diffusal on Slark. He's rushing a BKB immediately after, but I think they might be ready to fight. Yules will be completed soon as well on Lina, so you will have that extra pick-off potential.
Yeah, here we have, as you said, bots and Yules combo. Armel is going to be ready to hunt anywhere that his team sees fit to start some action.
They look so tanky though on the side of Liquid. You have this Viper with that rush the 4-staff, really good versus the Slark lineup, obviously. You have Slardar that isn't completing a pipe, he's going for the Hood of Defiance into Blink Dagger, which I also respect, and he's going instantly top to defend this tower.
Mass TP's top. Tiger, he's ready to look for the wraparound for the trees to see if he can get the ult to catch these 2 out. KP and Armel, they're pushing on the 2 of them. TP's coming into the outpost there. It's going to be a full-on fight. There's the overgrowth to starting the tombs down, so there'll be no crush, but he can still look for the right clicks. Armel gets the light strike out with the Yules, tries to separate himself from Boxy. He's still on the retreat, but Quaifa's in with a Viper strike. Armel, he goes for the TP out. He's going to make it away. Armel escapes. And TNC will not lose anyone, neither will Liquid. Liquid, they're still hunting. They know there's more in the jungle. Gabby trying to get out. Shadow Dart's popped. Can he pounce away? He can. Static Storm and Tims thrown down to contain Mickey. But Tims, he's being slowed, he's being chased. Gabby gets the space to escape, but Mickey slides forward and will claim the kill. Tims to fall. But nobody else goes down. All the other cores escape.
You're definitely not satisfied if you're a TNC fan right now, because they had to waste that Doom onto the Slardar just so that the Lina can go back. If they didn't do that, Slardar would definitely catch up onto her. I also love the way Liquid utilizes these heroes. Most importantly, Oracle, the way Insania plays around his teammates. While Slardar was going closer and closer to the Lina, he was casting Purge on the Slardar. So even though there were no stuns coming from Boxy, you still have that Purge to keep her in spot. Sadly, they had no follow-up and Lina TP's away.
Excellent reactions, though, from both teams. You can see that nobody's getting left out of the action. Everybody turning up to these engagements to do their best to ensure they come out on top. In the river, March goes for a bit of a de-warding mission. Boxy's going to be on top of them because of that, and with the damage coming out, the combination of the corrosive haze and the physical from Mickey, March does not stand a chance. Mickey's game continuing to blossom. He stays there at the top alongside Armel's farm.
Taiga bottom lane. They might go on him.
So if there's going to be any TP back up there, it looks like he'll be left alone. Nothing that Liquid can offer him up, but they'll make the most out of the space. Mickey's back to mid. Liquid still on the top lane as well, so...
They understand how Taiga is playing. They've seen his three games. He wants to get that Meteor Hammer very fast, and because of that, they always they assign him that hard lane so that he can just outpush it and get that Meteor Hammer even faster. The Slark goes there. Lina TP's in with Boots of Travel. They scout him out, and it's easy to kill when you commit 2 cores for position 4.
Now the Blink Stun for Boxy, so Liquid's plays, that sort of setup's going to be a lot easier. No longer does he have to walk in and hope that he doesn't get to him to be able to go for the Blink Crush. The dive comes in, Gabby looks for Quaker, nice track array off the mark, but they've got a lot of burst with the Lagoon and the Dragon Slave. It's not enough though. Insania's in with the save. Quaker will be fine as TNC back away. They cannot dive any further.
Insania also understood that he did not need to use False Promise. Their top lane, however, Boxy.
He's looking for the setup. Do they have the damage? They're going to drop the Doom. Boxy is very, very tanky. The Living Arm as well, keeping him fine. Armel's coming across the Yule setup, but he has to be careful. Tiger's trying to get on top of the leader. The Overgrowth holds the back of Force. The Hurricane Pipe from Mickey, separating Boxy, keeping the Slardar safe, and now Liquid can turn. They turn onto KP, slowing him down. KP's in trouble. Gabby and March are still trying to get to the backlines, but Liquid, they're playing close to the tower.
You cannot doom the Slardar and expect to kill him without at least the Laguna Blade. He has a hood, he has a bracer, you're not taking him down. This is another time they waste that doom. At least the Static Storm is still there for them, so perhaps they can take another fight around this top lane.
And Gabby, he's sort of cool with them just calming down for a little bit. He's a recipe away from his BKB, something that's going to be very important for being able to commit on these targets and not having to worry about them turning immediately. Obviously, they'll still have a fair bit of physical, but if he gets the chance to get the momentum in the fights as he starts to get those essence shifts, it's going to be hard for Liquid's cores to get themselves away from the Slark.
You say that, but at the same time, if you click on the Drow Ranger, on the Viper, you'll know that they have 2 Force Staffs. There's a Pike on Mickey, there's a Force Staff on Koikwa, and even when he gets that BKB, he will be able to chase and not die, but I'm not so sure if he's going to be able to actually take anyone down this early on.
Tower taken by Liquid. I see the opportunity to push and they jump at it. Gabby continues to farm aggressively over Liquid's half of the map. See if Liquid sweep by and catch wind of him. That's Gabby. He knows that they're going to be hunting, goes for the TP out. There's no vision on him, so no way to catch him.
I love that he's carrying 3 sentries in his inventory. A lot of my carry Slark players in pubs could learn a lot from Gabby. You just get those sentries, you move across the map, it's so easy for a Slark to D-ward.
BKB, a few hundred gold away for Gabby. Waits upon that one. Over the other side, Boxy's going to go for the Halberd next after the Blink. Make sure he has that extra means to disable Gabby in the fight, stop him from being able to get away with the damage. And I mean, you're certainly right. Between that Halberd and the kiting potential of the Force Staffs, it's not necessarily going to be easy once the BKB is done. He's definitely going to need that Aghanims before Liquid are going to feel truly threatened by the Slark.
It's weird as well. When you look at TNC's lineup, you see the glimpses, you see Lina with early Boots of Travel into Yules, you see Slark with Diffusal, with Pounces. You expected them to be able to get these kills, but that's definitely not the case because of the way the lanes have went. Slardar had a really good time, and now he's leading the charge. He's smoked up, he has that Blink, Hood, Bracer, he wants to pounce.
I see they get the jump on Armel. It's on the front lines, Boxy. He's in, the Corrosive, the bonus shot. Armel doesn't stand a chance as Liquid shoot down the Lina. They'll look to the tier 1 tower as well, and that is what TNC have to be scared about the most. Anytime Boxy gets a lead in like that, there's just no way that you're protecting them from Boxy and Mickey's damage output.
This combination is so broken. You jump in with the Slardar with the Corrosive Haze, and then you have Drow Ranger with that Pike that just follows up with multi-shot from yards away.
And they're going to go for Roche. 20 seconds, no Lina. We'll see if TNC can contest this without Armel.
Disruptor is coming in, but
it's going to be too late. They've already got it. Liquid take the Roche. They take the Aegis. Boxy's looking for action. Jumps in. Tims is gone. As Liquid starting to amp up the pace they're playing. The question is, are TNC ready for this?
Hurricane Pike is usually the best item for Drow early on, but in this game even more so. However,
he's going up to the high ground here, but TNC, they're prepared. They drop the Doom down. Insania uses the False Promise to try and keep Mickey safe, but they're going to chase this one for sure. Insania will buy back. He knows that he has to help Mickey after this bit of a mess up. Boxy goes to the high ground, gets the crush on the Corrosive Phase on the pot, onto the poor Lina. Armel's dead. They'll lose March as well in the river. Gabby with the BKB trying to mount up against him, but he's already lost 2 of his heroes. He's got to get out. Pounces up to the high ground. KP as well trying to split the attention away. As Liquid, they'll chase. The route's there. I don't think there's any escape for KP as he's starting to get slowed down. Quite for TP's over, and Liquid take another. As TNC unable to fight there outside the pit. Liquid did have to expend 2 buybacks, but they continue to make sure their game goes from strong to stronger.
I would never expect Liquid to be really good at going high ground, but here they go on that, they go on the shrine even, then they retreat, they bait them out and take a fight where it's really good for them, around their tier 1, around the river, because Oracle did fall, but instantly he is able to buy back and move into the fight.
Boxy ready to hunt once more with this smoke. Going in very aggressive, looking for the wraparound, see who they can find behind the towers. Tim's maybe the catch as they jump in, and he's gone before we even see him. He's just instantly dead to the onslaught of the multi-shot.
If you're Liquid, there's absolutely nothing that you have to wait for right now. You're playing versus a Slark. He suffers heavily when you 5-man, and they're ready to 5-man right now. They don't have to go back. I believe this might even be a high ground push. Can they get another catch?
We'll see how much they want to push it. Force forward. They've got the grab onto March. March is gone as well. Dead for 60. There's no buyback available for the Lich. Liquid, do they want to try and go for more? Doesn't look like it. They'll hold on for now, back away.
It's understandable too. But Lich is dead.
Or maybe with this second creep where they will go again. We'll see. It's always hard to tell. Obviously, Liquid in the
It's always hard to tell with Liquid,
yeah,
right?
they've struggled to win. They struggle to go high ground. Let's see if they are feeling a little more confident today. As outside the base they stand. Okay, starting the siege. Bit of a push back onto KP. What TNC, they don't really have the best means to shove the waves back out. It's basically on Armel's Lina from a range. With the glimpse. Not going to commit anything else on the kinetic field. Doesn't trap boxing. Even so, he's such a tanky Slardar at the moment.
You have Viper. He's extremely difficult to take down. You have Drow Ranger with Aegis, and then you have Boxy, who's almost unkillable. All supported by this Oracle plus Treant, this duo in the background that just... this allows you to take down anyone.
And they've got that tower. TNC, can they do anything to punish this? Another glimpse step, but Boxy, he's just straight in onto the high ground, goes immediately onto Tims. Tims is dead. They do Mickey, but Mickey, he's going to be protected by Insania. Boxy does fall for this. Can TNC chase for more? They're brought back on Tims. TNC, they've got to find something out of this. They'll get the second support. Tiger's gone. They're chasing onwards. Another glimpse. Can they kill Mickey twice? He's dragged back into the hands of Tims and March. The Thunderstrike upon him. Gabby committing with a BKB, gets himself out of the multi-shot. Still has the Shadow Dance. He's got to back off. The Static Storm stopping Liquid from being able to turn immediately. They'll get March. Can they get Tims? Another stun from Armel. Slows Boxy's attempt to jump in. Tims, the range still catches him though. Mickey and Quaikford rip him apart.
KP, he's trying to creep skip. I believe he might have done it. They do have a catapult mid lane, but they will instead go for the Doom. They won't catch him. Now this Carti, if it survives, you can see the pings are coming from the Doom. If this catapult survives, they can push high ground.
Yeah, they can certainly look to try and go for the racks. In terms of the buybacks in that last fight, Tims did use this, but the bigger one, of course, being that of Boxy's. Liquid will have to be just a little aware of Boxy. He's been playing very, very aggressive. If he does die again, there's going to be quite a big window for TNC to punch back at Liquid. But as it stands, Liquid, with the damage they have, they can move up, take these racks. And without the 5-man and the Shadow Dance available for Slark, TNC cannot fight this. They're going to have to let this go as Liquid start to open up the base of TNC.
They took first side 26 minutes in. I'm just baffled by Liquid's performance so far. Not only because they're playing so well, but because they as Liquid, are able to take a side. Overall, KP has to be mad. He tried to creep skip there. He did manage to take the creep wave, but not the catapult. And Disruptor in that last fight really demonstrated why this hero is... Oh!
Poor old Tims. Boxy. Again, I mean, so many times that Boxy's just been finding the jump onto Tims. They're going to look to punish him. And I said, Boxy's got to be careful with the aggression. He did use his buyback. He has indeed got back up Insania and Quaikford coming across. Boxy, does he want to look to jump again? He's got the blink, he's in. Onto March, Corrosive Haze. He continues to play aggressive. A force on March, gets him back up to the high ground. March will live for now.
They're just trying to push the tempo before TNC gets a couple of extra items, before this Doom gets every defensive item that he needs. So far, he has completely itemized it in that aspect. He has Ghost Scepter.
Boxy, he's onto Gabby. Gabby, forced to pop the ult. Again, staying away from Liquid, making sure that Liquid cannot capitalize on these jumps. Liquid They're focused on getting the momentum of the other waves in. Tiger down on the bottom lane, starts to bring it across towards the tier 2. Liquid trying to just set up the map to go for another high ground siege, get all these lanes in position.
Yeah, you can see the wards from Liquid as well, right? Straight outside of Radiant's base. They want to keep them confined in their own high ground. They want to farm everything around it, and just if anyone pokes his head out, Boxy is there to cut it off.
They're prepared here for Armel. Armel's going to show himself, but indeed the move. Boxy reads it all. He's there, ready and waiting to punish Armel for trying to go for the split push. Armel, has he got any way of playing his way out of this? It doesn't look like it. Another crush comes into place, tries to slide away, but the two of them take down Lina. As Liquid are just continuing to toy with TNC each time they push out these side lanes. Tiger has got the eyes on KP. We'll see if Liquid want to bring in anyone else to try for this fight again on the aggressive.
I can't blame Armel for doing that on the top lane. As Alina, as Alina with Pyke and Travels, you have to be trying to find some space for yourself to go on different sides of the map.
KP's walking in, but he's walking into 4 heroes. He's in a whole world of trouble. He pops the Ghost Scepter, will save him a little bit of time against the physical damage. They just turn over towards March. KP has managed to create the distance. He may live, as he looks like he will. The Ghost Scepter was enough to save him.
Insania there used his nuke one last time when Mickey dropped him super low, but the Chain Frost wasn't really bouncing any longer. He was fine.
And time to gear up for another push. Gabby does have the Aghanims. He's got that gap closed, but at this point, is it enough? Already Liquid's Drow lineup has come into full power in terms of the pushing potential. Mickey's got the Eagle Song. He's on the way to having that Butterfly at a very good speed. Gabby will be able to take away the stock of wards and that smoke that was on its way out to Insania. So maybe a bit of a chance for TNC to try and regain some map control, but it's very hard with the way that Liquid is just keeping TNC forced into their base. TNC are able to get out in the top half. They look towards controlling that outpost, make sure they have at least one of them coming into this 30 minutes, and they'll be able to do so.
But you know, there's Slardar. He goes so fast from one side of the map to the other through that river, and they have to back out. You can't really stay on that top lane. Sometimes you see heroes just hiding. You see players hiding in the trees, waiting for someone to pop out so that they can finish him off quickly, but they don't even have the burst necessary. And that's strange. You're playing Galina, but you don't have a burst necessary to take down these targets fast.
He's in, and he did clip Tiger with the dust. Tiger is trying to juke. There'll be another pounce from Gabby that he's going to be able to use to go across the tree line. He makes the wrong call. Wonders if Tiger's head over to the north. It's not going to be the case. So Tiger will manage to escape. He's also got the Blink Dagger, so now an extra way to avoid those sort of attempts from TNC to catch him out.
Slark has a couple of good neutral items. He's found Ring of Aquila and Mindbreaker. Together with that Aghanims, perhaps now he will be able to jump into the fight, maybe even catch Insania off guard and bring him down super fast.
And TNC, they're definitely still pretty strong. They're only 6k down, and they know the best way for them to take a fight is outside of their base. So they catch with the smoke. This poor old starter, the starting stock's down. Do they have enough damage? It's going to take them a long time. They still trying, Gabby, to stay on top of Boxy, but they can't quite do it. Boxy can get himself away. KP utilized the Doom onto the Drow. Gabby's going to continue to fight on. Gets the pounce connection onto Insania. A kinetic field will trap him. Insania still with the rest of his team around, but they're going to let him go. He'll use the false promise on himself. Gabby is able to get a lot of damage done onto him. Tiger in with the newly found Blink, sets up with the overgrowth and pounce away, keeps Gabby safe. They lose the support for a support. Insania and March will fall. Liquid still continuing to chase. KP's out with the TP, and so is Tim's. TNC, the rest of them will escape.
They take a decent fight there, even though they initiated on Boxy. I thought that might be much, much worse for them. But the MVP of that fight, even though he started it off wrong onto the Slardar, was this Disruptor. Because later on, Boxy was about to re-engage, but Tims, he kept his cool and he glimpses him back across the other side of the map, so that there's no bashes coming and they can completely retreat to their base.
Liquid, they've got to be careful. I mean, you sort of look at the state of this game. They have this lead. We've seen this story all too many times before from Liquid. The question is, how reliably can they turn this lead into a win? Mickey's still in that massive position as this Drow, 17.5k net worth. He's incredibly huge. But down the line, these heroes on TNC, when they start to get their next few items in...
I think it's already there. I think TNC has hit that power spike in which they're able to take down targets if they find them. At least if it's not Boxy. You're not taking down Boxy if Oracle is in any vicinity. So if you find a Drow Ranger, Viper, or anyone else, you can take them down.
No, it's definitely still scary for Liquid despite the lead they have. You just have to look at Gabby. He's not died at all this game. His game has been flawless. Sure, the pressure's been on. They have taken that mid-racks. But Liquid definitely not out of the woods quite yet. They'll go for another smoke move, Liquid.
They have a Blink Dagger on Taiga too, so they have multiple ways of initiating, and they might catch TNC here.
And I look for Roche. See if this is scouted out. The courier's there, so they know that this is up. They tried to go for the smoke into Roche, but TNC, they're going to start heading over. Can they get there in time? They cannot. Oh, they try and slide in, but already Dire, they've got the Roche kill, and Mickey's grabbed the Aegis.
Now they're on the hunt.
Thunderstrike on a Boxy to try and stop him from being able to blink him, but Tiger is able to get forward with the Overgrowth, catches out Tims, turns towards KP. Mickey, he's falling pretty fast though in the standing still. Mickey is in trouble with the false promise. Insania saves him just in time. They turn. Gabby just gets destroyed immediately. Gabby does not have buyback. He's 300 gold short. This may be it for Liquid here, as they've just turned up with that Aegis straight off the back of the Roche fight. They get the key kills, 4 dead on TNC, only KP with buyback. Liquid, they should be able to take quite a bit from them with this time.
I love the way they assessed their problems and dealt with them perfectly. This Boxy was their only form of initiation, but he was always handled. He was always dotted either by Disruptor or Lich. However, Taiga itemized with that blink, and there you go, they call it.
Without the buybacks, they don't have a chance to hold, as Liquid will do it here in this game one, taking the victory.
34 minutes in, Liquid take it deep.
I wanted this new Liquid. What's wrong with them?
What happened?
Yeah. Not a bad way to end the game at all. Liquid already showing that they've certainly learned from, not necessarily the mistakes, but the interesting way that they approached the game in some of the previous series. This win, a much, much smoother one. As
they picked Drow into a Slark, and they looked super confident with their draft. I think the way they set up their lanes was also flawless. They gave Boxy the space that he needed. They ran him on the safe lane, then they rotated him towards that Doom lane. Doom that was crushed because Mickey, he had like 3 kills off of that laning stage.
Yeah, it was a tough one for TNC to sort of hold themselves in. They definitely gave it their best shot. We saw right up until the end, Gabby hadn't really died. The problem was that the speed of Liquid's lineup was just a little too fast for TNC to deal with. And I mean, going into this second game now, the question is, do they get away with another sort of Drow Viper fast-paced lineup, or do you think TNC is going to have some answers?
I think TNC has to reassess the strength of Disruptor, because if you're picking that hero, you need to be on the hunt. You can't be the hunted, because that's where that glimpse actually becomes useful. But if they're always jumping you, that glimpse doesn't work really well. So maybe think about these matchups a little bit more.
Well, we'll see what TNC is going to be able to try and hit back against Liquid with in Game 2. But as it stands, Liquid will take Game 1 of this best of 3.